Gotcha. Gotcha. Oh, 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 oh. Gotcha. All right, everybody. Can you see why I need a camera person full time? It's hard to pick avocados and film at the same time. So I wanted to just talk about today, in my neighborhood. Won't you be my neighbor? I want to talk today about why, when you're selecting your property, if you're in the northern hemisphere, why you might want to consider a south-facing slope. Oh my goodness, people. It feels so good up here and so warm. It's because I'm on the south slope. Look, this is the shortest days of the year. It's still like, I don't know, December 15th or something. And remember, January 24th, the day they discovered gold in California in 1848, and in 1969, the day I hit the planet. It's coming up, 56 years old. I know, gray's filling in, but it makes me look more distinguished and a little bit more sophisticated, or it basically gives me the illusion of being those things. Anyway, so yes, we're mid-January here, and it's a day where there's no wind. See the trees? Not a lick of wind. And the sun is out. The high is only supposed to be 56 degrees or something. But when you build up heat on a south-facing slope all day long, everything warms up. Oh, these are so warm. They feel so good. That whole shade house over there, all my plants inside, super warm. Greenhouse. Yeah, and if there's any north breeze at all, the ridge keeps it away. But I came up here when I first looked at this property to buy, and I saw this cactus growing up here, right up there, a whole bunch of it. And I was like, oh, it loves it here. It's because it's on the south face. The other side of this hill is so shady and cold. It's probably a 15-degree difference today. Now, on days when there's no wind, it especially heats up way higher than the average temperature that's reported, or the high temperature of the day for the general vicinity. Because what ends up happening is all the heat builds up on all these surfaces, especially if they're like, rock or whatever, and it just radiates up, and there's no wind, so it doesn't carry that heat away. The heat just stays in the general vicinity at ground level. If you go higher up, I'm sure it's a little bit, cool. But yeah, I've got mangoes on my balcony right now that are flushing growth in January because it's so warm. It's even more warm up there because of the stucco walls and the sort of protection from any kind of breeze. But look, looky, look. They pretty much told me you couldn't grow avocados here. I was like, I'm going to prove you wrong. That was like 25 years ago. And, well, guess what happened? And guess how much care I give these trees? That's right, 0. I dump some mulch on them sometimes. I give them a little bit of water whenever I kind of am over here a couple times this summer. And look, once they get established, they don't need no water, people. They don't need none. And they just get, happy. So, yeah, if you're in Northern California, I highly suggest, maybe if you're like in Arizona, you want to be on the north slope to hide from the heat because it's so darn hot there, or the east slope. But if you're in Northern California, especially if you're in a heat-starved area, I would highly recommend getting up on the south and west slopes. If you're on the very top of the hill, that's good because there's no cold air that lands on it that comes down to you. We're just about the top. But if you're not quite at the top, that keeps the north breezes out, and then it retains all the heat in these little areas here. And it's also nice to be, at least 100 feet above the valley floor, because that way you get all this cold air drainage coming off. And I'm going to plant this whole hill out here in avocados with all the spaces that I have left. And I always meant to plant mangoes along this building over here, and I never did. But I should do that too, now that you know, now that I don't have any free time. I had a great nursery here. It used to be great, but it's just not as efficient to grow here as it is in Richmond, my ranch in Winters, and in San Diego. But I might start resurrecting this space a little bit. Here's our compost pile. But built this whole setup here, greenhouse, shade house, shed. Built that 20 something years ago. I have to redo the gate. So, but it's still holding up. Looks great. It's super warm in here. Look at this. It's shaded but warm. It's like, let's love it. Look at this. Look at this setup. It's like kind of empty. I'm gonna start filling it up again, but it feels great in here. The sun hits in here all day long, all damn day. And so anyway, but I just came over here in the middle of the day. I was doing office work all day on a Saturday, and I wanted to go pick some avocados. And I was just walking around thinking, wow, it's just amazing. Like spending a winter, nice sunny day, windless sunny day on a south-facing slope. It's just magical. Like all the palms love it down there. I built that pad down there long ago before I had these nurseries, and I need to kind of shut that down. But yeah, we've got a ton of avocados coming along. Let's take a quick look. Here we have bacon. I'll start picking these like in, they're not that big this year. No fertilizer, no water, that's what happens. It'd be twice as big if you did that. But, you know, whatever, they'll still be really good. See here, that's like the size of a small hass. But then we've got Jim bacon over here. Let's see how Jim's doing. I think Jim had some fruit on it this year. You never know how it's going to turn out from year to year. Oh yeah, lots of fruit up in there, tons of fruit. So I'll be picking, first I picked Mexicola, which is, there's a few in the tree still, but those are almost done. Then I move to a Stewart tree over there. And then I move to the Mexicola Grande, which you saw over there. And then I move to Zutano, bacon, then the little Cado, and I have another daily 11 avocado and some of the lamb Haas later on. So yeah, it's just a seasonal thing. Every year it's the same pattern. Look at my Zutano tree. Look at this. Woo, yeah. Oh yeah. It's a good fruiting year this year, Nick. 2025. Really good year. Look at this daily 11. This is a freak of nature. This thing is cool. We're gonna start selling this plant soon enough, as soon as I get some grafts going. Look how big and long that thing is. Let's see if we can find one we can reach. Can we see any? Oh, there's one over here. It's not as long, but it's pretty big. Look, no fertilizer, people. Look at this. Look at this giant fruit. Oh yeah, big and bumpy. Look at this. Oh yeah. Oh, that's cool. Woo! Anyway, this is a really cool tree. It's not a lot of fruit, but the fruit it makes is pretty spectacular. I don't know if it's, look at this. That's a big fruit right there. It's not even fully sized yet. But yeah, it doesn't make a lot of fruit, but the fruit it makes is pretty impressive if you want to impress your friends. Here's a floppy one on top. A couple more in here. Look at those. Yeah, I gotta grow more of those. Maybe I'll propagate that next time I go to the ranch, to the greenhouse. Anyway, that's pretty much the story up here. But when you're shopping for land, they ain't making it no more. Remember that. I want you to look for south facing. It doesn't have to be a steep slope. The steeper it is, the faster the cold air will run off. But you don't need much gradient for the air to eventually run off. And try to get about, as high as you can above the valley floor. Get some frost protection that way. And if you get too high, 1,800 feet plus above sea level, then you start having the problem of it getting too cold. So, 200 feet to 1,800 feet is the sweet spot. Then, try to get just a little bit below the ridge if you want to not have any wind, not have too much prevailing ground above you that's going to dump cold air on you. And the next thing you know, you're going to have a climate where you can grow just about any damn thing you want all damn day long. And it'll piss everybody off that goes to your house. You're like, how are you able to grow the bougainvillea, the hibiscus, those rare palms, all those mangoes? And you'll say, well, let me tell you what Scary Hairy Gary told me. And then you will tell them.